Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the internet's favorite show about plastic surgery, health, and beauty. This is TicTok. We got an awesome show for you today. First off, screen time. How much is too much for kids, and what is the danger? Also, a Kim Kardashian model is dead after butt injections. And lastly, a TicTok doc's about to learn her fate. It's coming up right now.
Live from Lincoln Center in the heart of the Dallas Metroplex, this is TicTok. An honest and uncensored show about plastic surgery, health, beauty, and lifestyle with your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann, and your co-host, entrepreneur and social media influencer Sarah Bennett. Now it's time to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the topics everyone is talking about. It's time for TicTok.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a comment. We want to hear from you. I'm your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann. With me always is the great Sarah.
Hi.
What's up, Sarah? In the box is my man, Travis. What's up, dude? How you been?
I'm good. How about you?
Great. Everybody have a good week?
Yeah.
Can't complain.
It's been good. I'm still getting caught up from being gone. I was gone for 10 days, so when I get back, it's kind of busy. But
yeah, getting back to work and
back to work, man. You go on vacation, you forget. You know, it's a grind.
I was about to say that grind mode hit you quick though.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's just I love going on vacation, but you know, right before you leave, it's busy trying to get ready, and then the vacation's great. Then you get back and you like get slammed, and like I'm on call a bunch. But overall, it's good. So
that's good.
So last weekend, we went to the Ren Fair.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you went to it the week before. And was that your first time? Mm-hmm. So, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, I liked to dress up. And I remember asking my friend Cassie, who I went with, I was like, are there going to be any cute boys here? And she was like, oh, yeah, for sure. And I like got there. And I was with like one of our other friends. I was like, Cassie said there'd be cute boys here. And then she goes, and I was like, oh well, at least I got to dress up.
Maybe they were there just in costume. They were like hiding. What'd you dress up as?
I don't know what I dressed. I bought like a little corset from Amazon.
Okay, so like a Renaissance maiden.
Yeah, something like that. I was just like I would say I was like a little fairy or something. I didn't have wings or any of that, but I was like definitely had like flowers in my hair.
So what'd you think? Like, did you eat like the food out there? And
the only thing I had to eat there was funnel cake. I like had to.
You always have to have funnel cake.
I had to. It was so good.
It's a cheat day, but.
Yeah, and that was whenever I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, so I couldn't really eat anything.
Oh yeah.
And that
you
was,
can't
like,
go
the
after
best.
like a big turkey leg like right after like your dental extraction.
That was the best thing I ate, and then of course like they have little drinks and stuff there, so.
So we've gone every year for like the past 10 years. In fact, it's Scarborough Fair is the Renaissance Fair here in Dallas, Texas, and it's been around for 40 years. In fact, I went when I was like in junior high and high school growing up here, and it's more or less the same. It's gotten a little bit bigger, but it's pretty fun. So me and my family go every year, and we kind of really get into it. We dress up and get costumes, and so I brought a picture. Like it's just me and my wife, yeah. So
you said you always dress up as a wizard.
Yeah, I always dress up as a wizard. Like, I don't know, I just like the wizards. And my wife's a maiden of some sort. I always call her like a tavern wench, but she doesn't like that. But no,
Where's my beer?
It's a lot of fun. We really like get a kick out of it, and my kids love it, and they like get in costumes every year and go. And my daughter was like a witch. I should have brought a picture. She looked pretty good. She was like a dark witch, and my son was like a plague doctor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they were cool.
Did he have one of those like cool masks?
Yeah, he's got the cool mask. Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
Now, one thing I'm noticing, Sarah, I know you said it was no cute boys out there, but the big boy in the back, I mean, he is dressed kind of sharp now.
Yeah, he is. He's looking good there.
Yeah,
Sarah. Was that guy not there when you were there?
Right. You got the
hat. You should see the look on her face right now.
The hat with the blazer. I mean, he's sharp now.
Travis, have you ever been to the Ren Fair?
I've never been.
You should go, man.
I know it. When I worked in radio for another radio station, we used to give away tickets all the time.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I used to always want to go, but I never went. I met some of the characters from the fair, but I never actually went to it.
I mean, it was cute. I think it's a good excuse to play dress up.
It is. Like, it's fun to get a call. If you like that kind of thing, which we do.
It heals your inner child.
Right.
I feel like.
Well,
Like
and plus,
to play like that.
We
I
like
think
to,
it's fun.
you get all into Halloween and stuff. So like, 'cause
Yeah.
it's just like, it's like,
Another-
Halloween in the spring.
Another excuse.
And yeah, so we go out there and like we eat the food. The kids like do some of the rides. They're getting kind of older, so that's not really a thing. But they have like cool shops and like unusual things, like like costume clothing.
Yeah,
and
they make bank on that costume clothing.
oh, it's really expensive. Like I want to get some of it, but like it's so expensive.
One of the girls we went with, her like corset was like $100 and something,
Yeah.
and I was like, what?
Yeah, my daughter was looking at some outfits. And I was like, ooh, well, we'll have to think about that because they were like a whole outfit was like $400 or $500. I'm sure you can find it cheaper, but I think they just they raised the prices. for
Yeah,
the
I
fair.
bought a corset for like $20 off
Yeah,
of Amazon.
off Amazon, yeah. But one of our
And
favorite things to do.
I wore mud boots and a
Yeah.
dress I already had.
Yeah, you can't go out there in nice shoes. It's pretty dirty.
Gross. Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun. We actually really enjoy going to the taverns. So like they have these like medieval like taverns, and they have music. And so being a big live music person, like I don't know the words to the song. Well, there's a couple that are kind of famous that you know.
Did you go to see this like comedian guy that reads his poetry? It's like really raunchy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. We didn't see him this year.
That was the funniest part to
yeah.
me.
The little shows are
It
funny.
was like it was pretty disgusting, but it was really
but funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like fire jugglers
Yeah,
and
I saw
magicians.
like a person that like whips things.
Oh,
that's dope.
we watched that one, and it was like the guy and the girl.
No, it was just a guy that was
was this
wearing
guy?
some really tight pants, like velvet tight pants. I was like,
Ooh.
what's happening here?
What about the thing where they on the horse? I think it might be jousting.
Yeah, they do.
They do
well, they
that,
do
or
that.
pretend one.
So so if you're gonna go to the Ren Fair, and I'll ask you if you had this situation, did you get there right when it opened? Or did you get there later?
We got there like right when it opened.
Okay, if you're gonna go, Travis, you have to get there when it opens because out in the country and it's a 1-lane road and like it gets slammed
Oh, really?
about 30 minutes after it opens. And we made that mistake one time and it took us like an hour to go like 2 miles. So because of that, we always get there early. And I think the jousting's around 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And so you're out there and like out in the sun all day. We generally like head back before that, but we have watched it a few times and they joust and then there's like the sword fight. It's kind of like medieval times, I guess.
Right.
It is. I stayed there. We got there when it opened and left when it closed.
Wow, you shut it
that's dope.
down? You shut down the Ren
Yeah.
Fair. Man, that's a bold move.
Yeah, I was out there for a while.
Nice.
Yeah, not for me.
Sarah was ready to go.
Well, anyway, if you live in Dallas Metroplex, I do encourage you to check out Scarborough Fair. It's a lot of fun. And there's Ren Fairs all over the country.
Yeah, they have another one in Houston. That's
Yeah, the
like
Houston
really
one's supposed to
big.
be pretty cool. And I don't know, I love the Ren Fair, but like traveling for the Ren Fair is maybe like a bridge too far for me. I don't know, maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be doing that.
Yeah.
But
People
I'd
like
go
camp out and
again. I
stuff.
want to take Avery, but I just didn't. Every time I had a chance to go, she was not with me on the
yeah.
weekend. So
Next year we'll plan it. You should come with us.
yeah,
That'd be fun.
I think she'd like.
And Travis, we're gonna bring you too, man. What would you dress up as, Travis, if you're gonna go?
Ooh,
I think he'd be like a good like executor looking dude.
Oh, an executioner,
now
man.
they go shirtless out there, so I got to get my body right if I'm gonna go shirtless with the executioner, and I got to have a little axe.
Yeah, dude, definitely, man. You got to get a big axe, like something just huge, right?
Let's do it.
That would be so fun.
I'm excited now.
All right, next year we got it planned. I think
sure.
also we're doing Paris Fashion Week next week, right after the show gets famous. So
Absolutely.
we got some big plans coming up.
Yeah, a lot on our plate.
We
man.
do, man. We got to
A
get
lot on our
ready.
plate.
All right, well, let's move on to some segments. So, I always like to do a medical segment and, do something educational. And this one kind of hits close to home. This one is about the dangers of screen time in kids. That's actually my daughter.
I'm like, as my daughter is playing on her phone.
I know,
in
right?
the waiting room.
I mean, it's something that I think we're all guilty of is allowing our kids to be too enveloped in screen time. So, digital technology has advanced more rapidly than any innovation in human history. And it's a great thing because technology is making the world a better place and it's bringing everyone together. But it has brought up some concerns, and this concept of screen time is one of them. And I remember the first time I heard screen time, I was like, what does that mean? Well, screen time is defined as the amount of time that kids or adults spend on things like smartphones, tablets, computers, television, and those sort of things, or gaming consoles as well. And I guess it's not totally new. I remember when I was a kid and like the Atari came out, and it was just like the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Right.
And I remember like, you know, in the summer I'd be in there playing it, and my parents would get worried about, oh, you know, are you playing, you know.
You're not socializing.
You're not socializing, right? And so, you know, this whole concept of screen time really originated, you know, more recently than the past decade. But in the past decade, it has gotten a lot of attention.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, back then it was like the only screen time was looking at a TV.
Yeah, looking at TV
and now
or playing the
guitar.
guitar.
Then it became a computer.
Right.
Then it became
It's
video
enveloped
games.
our whole
and
lives.
Like your phone.
Yeah, and it's not just recreation anymore. You
Yeah.
know, it's people that work, and for
Working.
kids at school, you know, looking at laptops for classes or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so it has raised some health concerns about what are the negative sides of this, and also is there an issue with our kids getting addicted to screen time? And so the first thing to kind of understand is, okay, well, how much are kids using their screens? And I mean, I go by my own kids, and I'd say, well, it's a lot, you know.
Mine too.
So according to the recent studies, for ages 8 to 12, the average kid gets 4 to 6 hours of screen time.
That's a lot.
It's quite a bit. Now for teens, that goes up to 9 hours per day. Like that's crazy. And I guess it makes sense. I mean, they're using computers at school. They come home, they get on the computer. I mean, I know my son does, and he'll end up, you know, he'll play games late into the night if we don't watch him. But there has been this dramatic increase because in the recent past, it wasn't near that. So 25 years ago, the average kid only did, so okay, that's basically when I was a kid, more or less. More or less. You know, 25 years ago, the average kid had about an hour of screen time a day. As recently as about 10 years ago, it was only about 3 hours. So you can see this kind of dramatic increase in the amount of screen time that kids are getting. And so, you know, now that this has become an issue, of course, people are starting to study it and say, okay, if kids are getting too much screen time, you know, are there downsides, and what are those downsides?
I know one of them already.
Tell me. Bring it.
Mine gets super agitated the more she plays. on her phone.
Agitated.
Yeah.
So,
like,
okay, that is one.
like anxious, I guess.
Is it anxious from like things she sees or trying to accomplish
I
something
don't
in the
know.
game?
It's almost like it's like too much like sensory overload
Really?
for her
Okay.
sometimes. So it's like sometimes she just is like super aggravated and grumpy.
Interesting.
Even when she's being, you know, distracted by the phone, but like
Yeah.
she'll just get, if one thing does not go away whenever she's
Mm.
playing, she'll just like freak out.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
I'm
I mean,
like,
things
"It's
like
time to
difficulty.
take it away.
Time to take it away from me. Sorry, kid. Things like difficulty in concentrating do pop up.
Yes.
One of the biggest things, which I mean, we all kind of know about, but it's just good to just kind of state it and make sure that it's clear, is that a lot of times parents don't know what their kids are seeing. You know, the problem with the internet, obviously, is that the entirety of the world can access your kid's mind.
Yes.
You know, through a handheld device. And, you know, that's not always a good thing. Kids are seeing things like violence, risk-taking behavior, videos of stunts that are, you know, poor choices that may lead to unsafe behavior.
And one way that I make sure to not let that happen is not let her wear headphones. I usually don't let her wear headphones a lot because that way I can hear what she's listening to, because I'll hear something and I'll be like, next video.
That's such a hard thing to do too,
Wrap it
because we've had these discussions throughout the years with our kids, and so it's kind of like a good and bad thing, right? Because if they don't have headphones on, you can hear what they're hearing, but then the bad thing is
It's annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying, right? And you're in the car and they're cranking up, you know, YouTube or TikTok, and it's just like blaring. You're like, turn that down. Put on your headphones. But you're right. I mean, and we'll get around to like.
I mean, yeah, I have to do that sometimes too. But most of the time,
Yeah.
like when she's at home, she doesn't wear headphones. Like if we're traveling and like we're in the car for like 5 hours, yes, she will be wearing headphones.
Wear headphones, please. You know, sexual content is obviously out there,
Yeah.
negative stereotypes, substance abuse, and then things like cyberbullying is a really big thing that's gotten a lot of attention. Predators, you know, there's people that try to prey on kids through the internet, and
Yep.
then scams.
Yep.
You know, and we just talked about a scam, I think it was last week, you know, where that kid, it was like a...
That was a predator / a scam.
Yeah, it was like both, like the dual threat there. So the other issues that come up with too much screen time include sedentary lifestyle. You know, kids sit in front of the computer, they don't go outside, they don't get physical activity. which of course can lead to potential health issues. Sleep patterns. It actually messes with your sleep patterns when you have too much screen time, especially if you're using screens or tech right before you go to bed.
Yeah.
They say that's a bad thing to do, and of course I am like a bad offender of that. I'll be like working on the computer right up to the point I'm like falling asleep, and then go to bed. But it does mess with your sleep patterns, which can affect. It can cause fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and these things can all lead to decreased academic performance in kids.
Yeah.
So, if your kid is getting a lot of screen time, it can start to affect them in school. And I know that for a fact because, my son when he was younger, had this thing where we would fall asleep and he'd stay up late, playing on the computer, and then he'd have issues at school because he was too tired.
Yep.
So, the other thing is the development of social and emotional skills, which is kind of getting really, into like the more deeper issues. So having a lot of screen time does decrease face-to-face interactions.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that. I mean, kids now, and I do the same thing. I have like my online friends, like and one of them is one of my best friends that we play games and stuff just to kind of keep connected. But I have these online friends that I've never met. Which, I mean, in one way is cool, but two, it does decrease your face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
And so for kids who are developing, if they get into a pattern where all their friends are online, I mean, it can affect their ability just to have like that strong emotional quotient, later in life.
That's true.
And then some of the more like worrying things and anxiety, which you said your daughter has sometimes, decreased self-esteem has been shown from having too much excessive screen time, and also depression. And so, when you hear all these things and then you realize, oh my gosh, my kid's like on a screen a lot, I mean, it does kind of stop and makes you want to think about, okay, do we need to do any changes? So, of course, knowing that there's potential risks, we should talk about, what are the potential solutions of this? Certainly, and you said it right off the bat, is monitoring.
Yeah.
You want to make sure your kids are not accessing content that they shouldn't have. And it's easy to fall in the trap of, oh, my kid's being quiet, they're being good looking at a screen, and like, necessarily get involved.
I know YouTube, you can create a kid's YouTube account, and you can be in charge of like what kind of content they look at. So like
good.
Whenever YouTubers make videos, they have to put what it's made, who it's made for.
Right.
I mean, sometimes things get slipped through, but
falls through the cracks.
I mean, at least so you can do is report it. But yeah, that's what I've been doing with Avery, because there was a time when, there was a situation, I don't know what she was watching, but I was like, okay, this is
not good.
Not
good. And I've had that too, where like my daughter and I
she
would
was
be
so confused as to why I was like, get
nope, swipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that with my daughter, especially when she was younger, where she'd be watching on TikTok, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be watching that. She's always pretty good. She's like, I know that's not good, and she'll like swipe past. But.
Inappropriate.
Another thing that's really, really hard to do, but is important, is setting limits.
Yes.
And so there actually is some recommendations that come from the American Academy of Pediatrics. And I was a little surprised at how restrictive they were, especially given that I think my kids are way over this. So they say for kids less than 2 to optimize their development, they really shouldn't have any screen time if they're less than 2 years old.
My Avery didn't care anything about tablets or any of that stuff when she was that age. My mom had bought her one for like whenever we'd go on like road trips or something for her to play with.
No interest.
She'd get so frustrated with it. She'd look at it and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm trying to remember when my kids started using tech. I mean, I think it was after 2. But I do see sometimes parents, maybe have like a 1.5-year-old and they'll throw a video on. And I mean, I guess that there's the effect on their development can be affected by too much screen time. So they actually recommend nothing for kids less than 2. For kids 2 to 12, 1 hour is the recommendation of screen time. That's pretty strict.
yeah.
I can't say that my kids are currently adhering to that.
No, mine's not either.
But at least it gives you a goal.
Especially with summer coming around.
Right. And then for teens, they say 2 hours, which, I mean...
I could see being a teenager and only having 2 hours of screen time, because when I was in high school, I was pretty busy. Because it's like you go to school, and I did cheerleading and gymnastics, so it was like I didn't get home sometimes, and I had a job. Yeah. So sometimes I didn't get home till like 7 o'clock, and then I had to do homework.
Right. And I was the same way. I was really active in high school and did a lot of sports, extracurricular activities. So even though I liked to be on screens or computers. I didn't have as much time either. But I think where you can run into trouble is when the kids don't do that stuff. You know, they just come straight home and like get on a computer.
Yep.
The other two things that are good as far as you know, making sure your kid's not doing too much screen time is you know, trying to make a balance between dedicated time to do things other than be on a computer or tablet. So for example, things like family game night, sitting down to dinner, you know, going outside, pool time or whatever, you know, make time for your kids that are activities that are not related to screen is a good way to kind of limit that. And then lastly, the thing that's recommended is to encourage healthy screen time. And that means things that are like educational, things that are more interactive than passive, like, you know, active stuff than just like
learning
watching
apps.
videos.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get Avery a little learning app over the summer, and her cousin's gonna get one too, so they'll be able to play together.
Yeah, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
my daughter really likes the language apps. Like we have like Lingo Deer and.
I've used Lingo before. I tried to learn Spanish one time.
Did you? How'd it go?
Yeah, me and Avery were doing it.
Yeah, my daughter actually taught herself a lot of Japanese through one of those apps. She's really into like anime and Japanese culture.
My niece is going to Japan.
Really?
Yeah, with like her whole like for her birthday, her 16th birthday.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
what she wants to do. So
really? Oh, that's so funny.
My sister and her family are going there, and I was like, I want to know.
My daughter is always like, for family vacation, we should go to Japan. And honestly, I wouldn't mind going to Japan. But
I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah, my wife and my son are like, how about the beach? I'm like, oh, the beach does something.
Isn't there a beach in Japan?
I guess. I don't know if Japan's known for really nice beaches.
Probably not. But
I think they're more rocky. I don't know. It's kind of like the beach in England. You know, they have a beach, but it's not where people necessarily. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I just have never seen pictures of Japanese beaches. You know, you see the beaches in the Caribbean or whatever.
That's true.
So I'm gonna have to look into that. My daughter probably knows. I'll have to ask her. So anyway, screen time. Just be aware, there are potential issues out there if your kids are getting too much screen time, and they are fairly serious. And it doesn't mean that if your kid's on a tablet more than an hour a day that they're, you know, going to fail in life. But just be aware that there are some risks out there, and there are some guidelines set forth to try and keep your kids as safe as possible. So, all right, moving on and talking about being safe. We got a crazy story, and Travis, you told me about this one. It was right before I left for vacation. And we didn't get to do a segment on it, which actually wasn't a bad thing because now we have more information about it. And it is about a Kardashian look-alike model that died from silicone butt injections. I just couldn't believe it. This story gets really, really crazy. And
she does kind of look like Kim.
A little bit, yeah. And it's really sad. And I, you know, as I always say, we don't talk about these things to make light of them. It's, you know, to kind of educate people on how you or family member or friend could potentially avoid a situation like this. So this happened last month at the end of April. This girl's name is Christina Gorkani. She's 34 years old. She was a social media and OnlyFans model. And she was obsessed with plastic surgery. And I have a quote that she put up there. Charles, throw that quote up. Yeah, it says, "Some of us fill our bodies with drugs, some of us with alcohol, some with unhealthy foods, some with stress, others with toxic, abusive relationships. I fill my body with some plastic and a lot of love." And that was in response to people, you know, saying that she had this obsession with plastic surgery, which we'll talk about. But her obsession with plastic surgery was to look like Kim Kardashian. That was like her whole goal. And I got another picture of her. Yeah, that's her right there. I mean, she does kind of look like Kim Kardashian. I'm a little...
She definitely does, but it looks like her body is photoshopped. Like, that's how much plastic surgery she's had, is her body looks photoshopped.
So yes,
badly
right.
photoshopped.
And I think that is her real body, because I saw several photos. I just grabbed one.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, and so she did have this obsession with plastic surgery, and it kind of got her into trouble because she actually found this girl on the internet. This girl's name is Vivian Gomez. I think I got a picture of her. Charles, throw her up there if you can. Yeah, so that's Vivian Gomez. She is a unlicensed cosmetologist from Florida.
I knew it.
Florida is always making...
How did I know
Florida
it?
is always making an appearance in our segments. I don't know if we should... I know we had a counter at one point.
I think we should just go there and do interviews with random people on the street.
Like random street interviews?
Yeah, like that obviously have had plastic surgery.
We're gonna have to up our budget a little bit.
Who's your plastic surgeon?
Who's your plastic surgeon? Did you go to a plastic surgery?
Because you
in
look
Mill?
horrible.
Oh. Anyway, so Gorkani found this girl, Vivian Gomez, on the internet, which is a little sketchy. And Vivian Gomez agreed to fly out to California, where Christina lived, and they were going to do silicone butt injections. So this went down.
At least it wasn't cock or whatever it was last time.
Well, that's what that is. I think it's silicone.
Like from Home Depot.
It didn't specifically say, but you can't just buy, like silicone you'd put in a breast implant, like anywhere.
I have no idea.
So I assume that's what they mostly use, is they buy, silicone from some sort of hardware store, and they use that to inject it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's not a great idea. So she flew from Florida to California. They met up at a hotel where this all went down. And so the Ms. Gomez started injecting Ms. Gorkani's buttocks with the silicone. And very shortly after they started, Ms. Gorkani had a seizure and went into cardiac arrest. And so they took her to the hospital, and later that night she died. And so the first question is, okay, well, what happened? Well, I mean, there hasn't been like an autopsy released or anything, but most likely what happened is she got an embolus of silicone, meaning that when they were doing the injections, the needle got into a big blood vessel, and they injected that silicone into the bloodstream, which is really, really bad. That basically will block up your brain or your heart. I mean, it can kill you very, very, very quickly. And it's one of the reasons that Brazilian butt lifts carry such a high mortality rate. And of course, they're not injecting with silicone, they're injecting with fat. But the same end result can apply if you get it into the bloodstream. It can be, very, very lethal.
Yeah.
So Ms. Gorkani was taken to the hospital. She did, unfortunately, pass away. Ms. Gomez got on a plane and went back to Florida after this all went down. They said she wasn't fleeing police, but she just didn't necessarily have anything else to be there for. And she was arrested at the airport once she got back to Florida. And she was...
I was about to say, did she perform any more surgeries?
I don't know. That's a great question. I would assume she just came out there for that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But it was like a good thing she got arrested at the airport.
So this person's a cosmetologist, apparently unlicensed, obviously not a physician. And so she's being charged with involuntary manslaughter and practicing medicine without a license, which are both felonies. And she's facing set up to 12 years in prison for her role in this girl's death, which obviously...
I feel like it should be longer.
I kind of felt like that too. I mean,
she killed somebody.
Yeah, she did kill somebody, and
maybe not maliciously, but
right, it's not like pure murder.
But
it's almost
she knew the risks, and she still did it.
It's like negligent homicide. I don't know the details of...
I mean, don't people that get drunk and drinking and driving and kill somebody go to prison longer than that?
I'm not sure. I would assume so. I don't know. Yeah, 12 years to me sounded like not a lot of time for straight up killing someone, but I don't know.
Agree.
So anyway, I mean, this obviously is a tragic story, and like I said, we don't want to make light of the fact someone died here, but is there anything to be learned from this? And I mean, there's a lot to be learned. So I was thinking that there's three things here that were concerning to me. Well, there's a lot that are concerning, but the three biggest ones. I mean, one, I have a little bit of issue when people get obsessed with plastic surgery to the point that they're trying to look like a celebrity. It's a free country, people are free to do what they want, but it does open up risks when you have so much plastic surgery and you're doing everything you can to try and look like someone. And I think it opens you up to get into bad situations like this.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I feel like I'm a very safe surgeon. I mean, my record would say I'm a very safe surgeon. If somebody came to me and said, well, I want to look like Kim Kardashian, I want to have 10 surgeries, I would not operate on them. I mean, I just wouldn't do it.
Because it's like they'll never look exactly like
Yeah,
them.
there's that. I mean, it does indicate there might be some more deeper issues going on.
Psychological stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just feel like that's just kind of a warning sign. So the problem, I think, is when people go down that road, they're more likely to get in with somebody shady like this Gomez person who is practicing medicine without a license. So I think that's one take home from this is if you know somebody that's out there trying to look like a celebrity, I mean, I don't say you need to have an intervention with them, but I mean, you should have some concern.
I don't know. You might need to have an intervention with.
Well, I know it's strong words to say they need intervention.
Because like she obviously probably started off going to like some good doctors
Right.
to have these procedures,
I know,
and then she's just like,
going
now
down
I'm
the dark
getting
road. Yeah.
Home Depot stuff injected.
So, and that's the second thing. I mean, I don't know how big of a public service announcement we need to have to say that injecting silicone into your body is a bad idea, but I mean, it's a terrible idea. People die from this or have horrible complications. Like, I think Cardi B was one. Yeah. Remember we did the little segment about her.
I guess apparently it can be done, but like what risk?
Yeah. Right. I mean, and there's no medical application for that. Like, there's no FDA approval for injecting silicone directly into your body like this. I mean, we do use silicone implants, but that's a completely different.
You're not like putting.
Yes, it's not like free silicone you're just injecting in there. It's like a very surgical, well thought out plan that has a track record of being very safe. This is not that. I mean, this is the opposite of that. It has a track record of being dangerous.
For sure.
And then lastly, I mean, using anyone that's unlicensed is probably a bad idea. I mean, it goes back to, do your homework.
Yes.
If you're going to have a procedure by someone, look up their credentials. I mean, having a social media account is not credentials.
No.
There has to be more than that. So, and I know there's people out there that do something like this with somebody unlicensed and they have okay results. But I mean, if you're going to do something that potentially can, cause harm to you or even, potentially kill you, make it as safe as it possibly can. Make sure that people are properly trained, properly licensed.
Exactly.
So, I think that in this scenario, you have 3 different things that all went wrong. And like when you add all that risk up, I mean, it can cost you your life.
And plus it's Florida. So.
Yeah. Well, Florida.
Medical tourism.
Well, this is kind of like reverse medical tourism.
She came to her?
She came to her, yeah. The girl, the Kardashian lookalike was from San Mateo, I think, which is San Francisco.
And the Florida cosmetologist.
The Florida cosmetologist flew out.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like reverse medical tourism. It'd be like if I flew to Florida to do someone's surgery. You have to be wary of that too. Because I mean, I was just thinking about, could you ever do that? Well, I mean, technically you can, but you have to have a medical license for the state you're practicing in. So the fact that this girl flew to another state to do something, I mean, that's worrisome.
That's strange.
There's a lot worrisome about that.
Don't travel to get any type of surgery.
It's not a good
way.
idea. It's not a good idea. All right.
Red flags.
I'm sad for her. That's a very sad story. Hopefully,
it's horrible.
People can, take something home from this to prevent it from happening to themselves or someone they love. So. All right, moving on to more dangerous stuff. I don't know, sometimes these segments just are all about danger. Well, I mean, it is educational. We want people to be safe, so.
We learn from it.
Right, you learn from mistakes. So do you remember back in December whenever we were talking about the TicTok plastic surgeon? Were you here then? You were here then.
I think so.
Yeah. So Dr. Roxy, so Dr. Roxy, for those who don't know, was a pretty famous plastic surgeon on TikTok. She had, I think, a little under 1 million followers.
Is she the one that did like the liposuction and people are awake?
No, that's a different one. Oh. I know it gets mixed up with all these surgeons out there. No, so this is a girl who was kind of TikTok famous. She'd make funny videos. Well, she's about to learn her fate because she got her license suspended, and so she had to go in front of the medical board for her state, and that happened this month. So. As I said, for those who don't know, she was famous on TikTok. She made a bunch of videos. I think, Travis, I got one video here. Can you roll it of her? It's like her.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, it's like her dancing. And I mean, that's kind of the TikTok thing to do these like silly little videos. And so that's her on TikTok. But the reason that she got in trouble was because she was live streaming her surgeries, which when I first heard that, I was like, oh, live streaming surgery, I mean, that's not crazy. I mean, Dr. Miami got famous doing that. But where she got in trouble was that she got too involved with the live stream and wasn't allegedly paying enough attention to the surgery.
Yeah.
And so she had 2 patients that she was doing liposuction on in a live stream that had perforated bowels. And so for those who don't know, liposuction uses a hollow metal rod to suck out fat, and it's kind of aggressive. And if you're not paying attention or just something bad happens, you can actually get too deep with that and you can injure your internal organs. And so I have a video of her actually doing some liposuction. Travis, can you roll that next video? So when I saw that video, I was just really kind of mortified because she's doing liposuction on someone's neck.
She wasn't even looking at it.
Yeah, she wasn't even looking at it. I mean,
she was like, "Hi, how are you?"
She's sitting there talking about how dangerous it can be, you know, if you poke something in the neck while she's aggressively, and that's pretty aggressive liposuction. I try not to be that aggressive with it. Like I try to do more controlled, you know, because I mean it is potentially dangerous. And so anyway, so she had 2 patients that had perforated intestines, which I mean, that is a risk of liposuction, but realistically, a plastic surgeon...
That shouldn't happen.
Shouldn't happen really in their career. I mean, it could happen. It could happen to a great plastic surgeon, but it really shouldn't unless there was just some extenuating circumstances. But to have 2 of those happen and, you know, have a video like that where she's like, you know, not looking at the camera, obviously people found that to be a problem. And so the medical board suspended her license. And there was a 3rd patient too that had some serious injury, but didn't really specifically say what it was. And the other thing that really kind of was alarming was when I was doing the research on this, apparently according to some of the people that had the complications, when they called her office, their office told them, don't go to the ER. Like, you're fine, you know, which is always a bad idea. If you're out there and you have surgery and you feel like you have a problem, you need to call your doctor. And if you're really concerned, you should go to the ER. And that's what I tell our patients. And fortunately, we don't have a lot of patients going to the ER, but every once in a while, something will happen. A patient's like, look, I'm really concerned. I'm like, okay, well, I'm happy to meet you, but if you are really concerned, just go to the ER. I can meet you there. We can sort this out. It should be a little bit of a warning if a doctor,
yeah, because that's like, oh, you're going to get me in trouble. Or like,
I mean, who knows what they were thinking? I don't know. I mean, it's possible. So anyway, the hearing with the medical board just wrapped up, and there wasn't really any good footage from it. It was just them kind of talking. And so she's trying to get her license back. And so they won't make their decision for a few more weeks. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I'm kind of doubtful if she'll get her license back. I mean, it looks bad. Maybe there's more to it that I don't know, but the optics of it look pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know, you got 3 patients who are seriously injured. She'd been previously warned by the medical board not to do this anymore because they were worried she was going to, you know, potentially hurt somebody, and then it happened.
Seems like she's just like so irresponsible and like blinded like by fame or something.
Yeah, and of course, you know, she was saying that, oh, I'm doing all this for education, which I don't know. I mean, their response was, I mean, okay, you do 1 surgery for education to show somebody. You don't do 50 of the same surgery on live stream, you know, or you could record it and then, you know, there's ways to do it in a safe manner.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if she really saw an influx in patients.
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yes, she did. Yeah, she became kind of TikTok famous, and so, you know, she was getting a lot of business, supposedly. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I kind of think that she's probably not going to get her license back, but who knows? I mean, there may be more to it. I also worry, too, about, you know, malpractice because this is so publicized and, you know, all this information's come out. I mean, I can't imagine there's not some lawsuits involved in this. I don't know that for fact. Sure. And so it's like, well, is she going to be able to get malpractice? I mean, who knows? I mean,
who knows if she got those people to say that they were even allowed to, like, let her film.
I think that she was doing that for sure.
Well,
she would make mention that, oh, we always get consent. You know.
Okay, good.
But it's interesting, you know, the whole concept of live streaming, you know, surgeries. I mean, I've thought about it in the past. I was like, well, you know, I do stuff on social media. People want to see surgery. I mean, I've thought about it, but I just never really pulled the trigger on it because of all the various reasons I think it might be a bad idea. I mean, I think there is maybe some benefit to it, both from an educational standpoint and also like from a personal standpoint. I mean, she's a point in fact that you do something like this and it can build, you know, your notoriety, which can build your business.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are downsides, and ultimately, I think
there's a right way to do it. I think she just did it the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Miami, who I don't necessarily love, I mean, kind of did it the right way. I don't think he had any issues when he was live streaming his surgeries that I know of. So yeah, you're right. There is a right way to do it, and I'm pretty sure that that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah, it was almost like she was like trying to show off.
Could be.
You know? That's what I felt like.
And, you know, I mean, complications do occur. I mean, I can tell you, there's a saying in surgery that says, if you're not having some complications, you're not operating enough. And that is true. I mean, you know, no matter what you do, there's always some risk involved. But the complications should be minor, you know, little stuff. I mean, you know, we do tons of tummy tucks. We see people that get like little healing spots, no big deal. We get them. But I mean, something like perforated intestine, I mean, that's a major complication. That's like potentially life-altering complications.
For sure.
You know, or potentially lethal too. You can actually die from that. So anyway, I will have to have an update next month when we hear the fate of Dr. Roxy and see what happens with her. I mean, it's sad. I mean, I hate to see anyone have problems, but
yeah, lesson learned though.
Yeah, lesson learned. You know, it's a warning for other doctors and patients. So
yeah.
All right. Well, this episode was kind of depressing. We started out good with the Ren Fair, and then things kind of like went downhill with like all.
So what are you doing this weekend?
I don't know. What are you doing? Let's see. My son's graduating on Saturday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, yesterday was Avery's last day of school.
Yeah, Danica really wanted to come up. My daughter really wanted to come to the studio today, but
she's
just not feeling well, so we made her stay. She's very sour about that, by the way. It's like I really want to come.
Well, Avery will be here not the next Friday, but.
I'll make sure to bring Danica. You guys do anything good?
I'm taking Avery camping.
Fun? Where?
Broken Bow.
I was gonna say Broken Bow.
I got a cabin with some of my friends.
Nice.
That have kids too, but
oh my gosh, how much fun.
I'm usually more of a camp, like a tent.
Like you're
camper.
out in the tent. Really?
But, yeah, because I have a tent attached to my car, like permanently attached. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Wow. I actually like camping. My wife, on the other hand, would probably rather be tortured than go camping.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like
camping.
when you wake up in the morning and you like have to make a fire.
Dude, I did it when I was a kid.
And then like you make like coffee and stuff. It just like smells so good.
Yeah. I mean, growing up in Texas, especially North Texas, I think everyone who grew up here has gone camping in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Travis, you gone camping in Oklahoma?
I've never been camping
You
a
haven't?
day in life. No, somebody
You never been camping?
No, a day in life. Somebody recently suggested that we do that.
You need to like knock
so
two things
fun.
out with one stone. You can go
At
camping
least
at
just
the
for
Ren
like
Fair.
one night.
Oh, I feel like it would just be bad, just all the way around. I'm not an outside person, like
Kind of an indoor guy. I feel
absolutely.
you, man.
Like I'm going to a listening party tonight. At the House of Blues.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are you going in the foundation room?
I believe so. I think this is where it's gonna be it. I think. I'm not
Dude,
for sure, but I think this is where
That
it's gonna
place
be.
is awesome. I've always wanted to like get a membership there and just haven't. Foundation
Absolutely.
room.
I'm
Nice.
think
excited.
I've
about
Dude,
ever
it.
have a lot of
been
fun.
there.
I want a full report next week.
I got you.
All right, guys. I think it's about time to wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Please leave us a comment. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you want us to talk about on the next episode. See you later.
Bye.